Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is What We Saw on Stolen Cable. Technically episode 2, but it's our first official episode. We'll be covering the Terminator. I'm your host, Uncle Patches, and I'm here with my co-host.
Sinister Cinema.
Fantastic. All right, so we're a Gen X podcast about film that we grew up with. Terminator is what we're doing today. Going to start off with the official plot description. In the year 2029, a nearly indestructible cyborg known as a Terminator is sent from a dystopian future to a 1984 Los Angeles to assassinate Sarah Connor, whose unborn son will one day lead humanity in a war against intelligent machines. A soldier named Kyle Reese is sent back in time to protect her. As the Terminator relentlessly hunts Sarah, she must survive long enough to change the future of mankind. Now that's the official plot description of it. Now, I thought the preamble to the film was pretty good. Did you want to read that one off, or do you want me to read it out?
Oh, go ahead and read it.
Hmm?
Go ahead and read it.
Go ahead and read it. All right. So here's what we got. Movie opens up. The machines rose from the ashes of a nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate mankind had raged for decades, but the final battle would not be fought in the future. It would be fought here in our present tonight, which has a lot more dramatic feel to it.
Yeah, I thought that you're gonna read it in your movie guy voice.
I don't think I have a movie guy voice, do I?
The machine rose from the ashes of nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate mankind had raged on for decades, but the final battle would not be fought in the future. It would be fought here in our present tonight. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Well,
not even.
I'm nervous. I've taken a lot of caffeine. It's new to me here. So we're getting this off here. So let's, I don't know if everybody's familiar with the Terminator film. It's one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's breakout roles. Director James Cameron, screenplay done by James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd.
Which was kind of a breakout directing role for him as well.
Yeah. Very, very much so. Musical score, Brad Fidel. Other notable work would be Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Fright Night, which was a decent film, and True Lies, which is surprising because I do remember the soundtrack in Fright Night and True Lies to be really good. I kind of found it lacking here in the original Terminator film. You had the original drum sets in along with it, but the synth trumpets to do the main theme.
They wanted everything to sound sort of mechanical and stuff like that.
Synthy, yeah.
But at the same time, you also have to consider the fact that the budget restraints and everything too.
Yeah, this was a low budget film, right? I mean, I got that here in the notes here somewhere. Let's see.
As I understand, it was very low budget.
$6 to $7 million budget. With the official box office, it's $78 million.
Yeah, which was a very low budget at the time. That no one, I think, no studio really had any kind of faith in the premise of the story.
Yeah, no.
Like that. So they had trouble getting funding.
So yeah, we got low budget. It's technically a horror film, but I find it more of an adventure film. I would call it I wouldn't call it a damsel in distress.
No, but it was sort of it kind of followed a lot of the horror elements.
I mean, yeah.
And it was kind of a mesh of horror and sci-fi, which
Well, I mean, Sarah Connor, she notably gets her due in the second film, Terminator 2, where she is a total badass in that one. You hear a lot nowadays that, we didn't have a lot of strong female leads in films. But even in the first film, I do believe she was a pretty strong character. She was more of a untaught. But, there's scenes in the film where she's going out to her car and she seems to feel like somebody's watching her and she's looking around. And of course, Kyle's hiding in a car someplace.
She was definitely very self-aware and aware of, her surroundings, things like that.
Yes.
She wasn't just some damsel in distress. She wasn't weak. She didn't look for someone to save her. She, definitely Kyle was there for her and helped her out and things like that. But she wasn't just, you know, falling into his arms and,
No, she's
like she
literally
wasn't just,
carrying him at the end of the
yeah,
film.
she wasn't just waiting for him, someone to come and save her.
Yeah, no, it's great character building for Sarah Connor. So this film came out in '84. I would have been what, 9 years old.
Mm.
So we definitely wouldn't have seen this at the movie theater. This is definitely something we would have saw on cable.
Yes.
Probably in the middle of the night and probably when, nobody was watching. But no, as I remember, I would have saw this on cable, general cable with commercials and stuff like that. So it was very sanitized.
Hmm.
How about you?
Uh, I think I do remember seeing it on, I guess it would be HBO, or something that was, aired it in pretty much the same capacity as in the movie theater. I think on the first watch that I've seen it on, but I do remember seeing it on regular cable as well, where it was kind of cut down and a lot of the violence was toned down and some of the more there wasn't really any real strong language in that movie.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of editing.
It's very rewatchable. So I remember watching it when I was little, probably not in '84, probably about '87 or so. But we watched this in high school too because it was well, Terminator 2 came out in what, '92, right?
Yeah.
But you got to go back and you got to watch the original so you can get caught up on everything. And of course, they were playing it on TV as a hype thing. But as I remember, and this is something you don't get nowadays, you're flipping through the channels, you're not doing streaming service, you never catch the film at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I remember I never saw the first part of it where they were in the future with the first gunfights and everything. I always came in on it when they were already warping back in time. All right, so we're pretty young when we see it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think most of the time when I caught it on TV, it was after he already stole the bum's pants
Yeah.
and things like that.
Dirty hobo pants.
That's right.
Yeah, I traveled through time for you, got him it. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what sold it.
exactly. Because, I mean, I don't think he showered any time, within the movie.
So, yeah, the future and everything like that. I think he really looked out that she was ovulating on that day.
Yeah.
But because she totally made the moves in on that. We watched the film before we came in here and sat down. But she was like, so, did you have a girlfriend in the future? No, but all kidding aside, you got the main character, Sarah Connor, which is played by Linda Hamilton. I remember as a kid, I was more concerned with the prospect of nuclear apocalypse and killer robots. And she was just,
Well,
she was a little bit older. I would have been a kid. So I would have seen her as like an older sister character or even a motherly figure.
yeah.
Because she did take on a motherly role toward Kyle there when he got hurt and everything like that. And like I said, she's literally carrying him at the end of the film.
Yeah.
But I've had this problem now that I've gotten older because I remember watching it later on, even in my 20s and in my 30s. But I'm 50 now, and I turn this thing on, and I am stricken at about how beautiful she is in this film.
Mm-hmm.
They had the scene at the end where everything's on fire and everything like that. She's breathing heavy. They do a close up in on her face, and she's got these beautiful lips. Fantastic woman.
Yeah.
And Kyle
Well,
Reese.
I'm sure if she ever happens to come across this, she'll be very appreciative of your description of her.
I'm kind of an old lady too. I've seen her recently.
Oh yeah, she's held up very well.
Yeah, she's very, very attractive.
Definitely.
Michael Biehn, Kyle Reese on this. This is the first film I remember seeing him in. Handsome guy. And of course he's got a very heroic looking face.
Yeah.
But I saw an interview with him recently where he was talking about, I did a lot of scoundrel roles, and I guess one of his most notable ones, Johnny Ringo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where he played
Oh, yeah.
played against Val Kilmer, very opposite, in Tombstone, which is a couple episodes away. We'll be doing that one, Tombstone. I think we're going to do the Maltese Falcon next, which I don't think you've seen since you were a kid at all, right?
No, not anytime recently.
No. What was it you're saying? This was like your dad's favorite film?
It's one of my dad's favorites.
Yeah. So yeah, my dad enjoyed The Maltese Falcon, Casablanca. My mom enjoyed a lot of Agatha Christie stuff. So we'll try to get into that a little bit later. But
Yeah.
as for the Terminator, I mean, they had a very beautiful cast in this. I mean, Schwarzenegger, my guy's a specimen. I was like peak Schwarzenegger,
Oh yeah.
peak physical fitness.
Still the Mr. Olympia body.
Yeah.
You know. So, there's that, which that was not the reason why he was picked for the role. As a matter of fact, I think James Cameron wanted it to be the opposite. He wanted Michael Biehn to be the Terminator, and Arnold to be
The hero character, yeah. Which is it was eventually what he wound up doing later on. He did nothing but hero roles, and I don't think he did horror villain roles after that. And of course, he's got a stable of movies in here. We've got Conan the Barbarian, Predator, Total Recall, Terminator 2, True Lies, all very fantastic films. Anything in that list that you remember that?
I really liked, True Lies was a good one. Pretty much all of Arnold's movies were excellent. Commando was great. Predator, obviously, another really good one that a lot of people remember. His role as Conan, probably some of the best movies.
He got so fit for Conan. He did
Yes,
walked on for Mr. Olympia and won that year.
Yeah.
He wasn't even trained for it. He was training for the film.
Like Conan the Barbarian is some of the best, sci-fi fantasy type of films.
We may have to add that to our list because that's
Yeah.
definitely we got to be careful too because Schwarzenegger's got such an awesome listing of films. We could be just the Schwarzenegger podcast, but
Yeah.
that's not where we want to go. We want to be a little bit all
you
over
know,
the place.
And of course, when he did movies like Total Recall and Running Man, stuff like that, he's supposed to be playing like the kind of a everyman type of character, but he's like this massive guy that
Yeah, he's very throughout all of his films.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be playing a typical American, and he's got this thick accent. And
Yeah.
it's funny. It's to be sure, but
Well, especially
I mean-
for True Lies, where he plays an American spy with a thick accent.
Yeah.
Now he played opposite Tom Arnold in that film,
Yes.
which I don't. He's probably a nice guy. He probably is a great guy. I don't like him as an actor. Although in True Lies, I think that was probably an Oscar-winning.
For Tom Arnold, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely,
he stole the show in a lot of scenes in that film.
Mhm.
So I'm not a huge Tom Arnold fan, as you can tell. But in that film, if you get a chance to watch it, just pay close attention to him because he really hits it off. I think
That
that's
was-
yeah. I mean, that's the difference when you get a good director with an average actor.
Mhm.
They can really roll them in.
For sure.
All right. So who else we got here? Paul Winfield for Lieutenant Ed Trackler.
Yeah.
Now, I only know him from one other role, although he seemed to be one of those character actors that you seem to see in everything. But I don't have a whole lot of notes here on him other than he was in Sounder as Nathan Lee Morgan, which I can't remember that film. I think I watched it in middle school. But one of my all-time favorite films, Star Trek II, where he played Captain Clark Terrell, the captured captain from Khan.
Yeah.
Which was a
If that's another thing, if you've never seen that, Wrath of Khan is probably probably one of the best Star Trek movies, of course.
well, I made you sit down and watch it because
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
never seen it, right?
Yeah, I had never seen it, and I'm glad you had me watch it because it was really good.
Yeah. Then we've got Lance Hendrickson, Detective Hal, what is it, Volkowicz?
Yeah.
All right. So his most famous role is probably Bishop in Aliens.
Yes. Yeah, which was the android.
The android, yeah. The untrusted android because Sigourney Weaver's character was almost killed by an android in the previous. But I know he's very heroic in that film. He plays well in this one. They do a lot of banter back and forth with this, so you don't see in film a lot nowadays. Just casual character building between sub characters,
Yeah.
little comments here and there. I
Kind
think
of just the whole world building dynamic is kind of ignored in modern films.
well they got a bigger scope in modern films too. So quick facts: it was released in 1984. Well, I got another quick fact for you. I wanted this podcast to do all right. So my wife thinks I have undiagnosed ADHD. And I think she might be right because I went on and I did workups on all these films. And to my shame, a lot of the information that I got for this, just so we had something to reference back to, I got through ChatGTP, which is kind of shameful considering that this is a film warning us about AI wanting to take over and kill us. And here I am, just open arms. Show me what you got.
Putting your whole future of this podcast in the hands of some clanker.
Yeah, clankers. Clanker is a term, if you're not aware, is a term they use in the Star Wars Clone Wars animated TV series, referring to the battle droids. Which has been picking up in popular Gen Z and Gen Y, and that's their reference to AI and stuff like that. They're calling it clankers.
Yeah.
And I think I showed you a skit on YouTube where they had the guy speaking with a southern accent, and his son came by to see him. He goes,
"Some clanker." Yeah.
I don't want to steal somebody else's thunder. It was an awesome skit.
It was
really good. Look up Clanker and Southern Gentleman on YouTube, and you might run across it. But it's hilarious. But yeah, no, I mean, I said in our intro, if you haven't listened to that, you may want to skip it. It's not great. I've had a lot of caffeine. I've been up all night working on this stuff. I get really excited, so I talk a lot. I may be overshadowing Sinister over here.
No. Let's go ahead and get into the cultural impact of the film.
All right. Well, like I was saying earlier, Lyndall Hamilton's beauty was very overshadowed by the story and the plot of the film. For me, anyhow. I'm pretty sure there were a lot of teenage boys out there that were really into her.
Yeah, but like we were saying, this was before our teenage years, so
yeah.
For us at the time, it wouldn't have been.
Well, I had the same problem with Princess Leia. I saw her more as an older sister type than a lot of the other people, because you hear about all these creepy stories about these kids. What do the kids call it? They gooning.
Oh yeah,
gooning to her in her slave outfit, and I never got that.
But again, that film came out. The first one was 1977, right?
1977 for the first one,
Yeah.
and I think we had 1981 and then 1983.
So
for the films, yeah, we were very
first
very
one
young.
came out the year I was born, and then the following ones were still before my teenage years. So same thing. At that time, I wouldn't have looked at Princess Leia in that regard. She would have more been like my older sister.
Yeah. And that actually stuck with me later on in life. I never really pictured her. I mean, she's a very beautiful woman, but I never saw her more than a big sister. So
yeah.
But anyhow, back to the Terminator. We got cultural impact of this film. All right, so we got themes here that are relevant today. We've got AI, and we've got nuclear war. Now, this is 1984. This is, I want to say, the very height of the end of the Cold War.
It was, getting there.
So nuclear war was, I remember it being on my mind quite a bit. I remember nightmares as a kid.
Yeah, it was one of the big fears for a long time, really. I think, what was it? The threat of nuclear
annihilation, just complete wipeout. Yeah,
was something that ran on from what, the 50s on.
Well, I mean, they did a lot of the experiments in the 50s and stuff like that, but I think it really hit with the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
In the 60s with Kennedy. but yeah, no, I mean, it was very prevalent. If you go back to the 80s and look at the music and stuff like that, you had a lot of stuff coming out of Europe
Yeah.
that had, threats of,
A lot of songs, a lot of music in the 80s was centered around. A lot of it was very morbid when you actually look at the lyrics, but a lot of it did center around the nuclear holocaust. Stuff
all right,
like
the one that gets me is 99 Red Balloons. That one.
that. Mhm.
That one was there. And what was that other one?
I'll stop the world.
Yeah,
Stop the world melt with you.
yeah,
That's actually about two people melting together into one being
yeah,
because of a nuclear blast.
yeah. So, it's a very strong theme to put into a film. Um, Not very political with this though, because they let it straight up that we didn't even nobody knew where the attack came from.
Hmm.
So that leaves you that a third party being able to access that and then wipe us all out. That's very scary.
Well, as the films go on, it's that Skynet kind of becomes self-aware and then sets everything into motion. It's on its
Yeah.
own accord, um, which is again back onto the AI thing, which is a very scary possibility when you think about it.
Well, I mean, even nowadays they talk about the AI that tries to copy it onto Roombas and stuff like that
Hmm.
to save itself from being deleted.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then again, you don't know how much of that is true or how much of it is just hype people are
Yeah.
putting out there.
Well, I mean, we still don't have true AI. The AI we have is not self-aware. It's not. And it's only going off of what is programmed into it. But it does learn where it can. It's not everything that's just. It's not totally human input. It can gain its own input. Like the AI can
Yeah.
learn from the internet and things like that.
Well, that being said, when I was working these up, I made sure to be very polite and thank ChatGPT and use please and thank you just in case, that way I can get on the friendly list for when it does take over.
I'm for sure going to be taken out by some clankers if that ever happens because I can't bring myself to treating some robo as a human.
Well, I guess I can hide you in the attic or something. All right, so I want to go back to Sarah Connor real quick. Um, in my notes here, they had a thing come in. It's like, does the movie stand up on its own, or is it better with the sequels? Where I think it stands up on its own. Although the sequels, Terminator 2 especially, is a very good film. We may cover that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But out of Terminator 2, you got the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which was a TV series starring Lena Headey, who was the evil queen on Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Which she did a fantastic,
Yes, she was very.
fantastic performance as Sarah Connor in that film.
Mhm.
The show. It also had Summer Glau as a female Terminator come back to protect John Connor as a teenage boy. That series got canceled for the dumbest reasons. They didn't want it to overlap with the new film that was coming out, Terminator Genesis, which was absolutely terrible.
Was it Genesis or was it the other one?
Oh no, you may be right. It may not have been Genesis. It may have been the future one with John Connor and
what was that called? I can't remember.
Salvation, Terminator Salvation, and it was with Batman,
Yes,
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. That film was actually all right.
It was actually really good. That one was good as a standalone film as well. I think if that one was made as a prequel to the original Terminator, it would have done really well. Except for the only problem I had with it was that hybrid of that
Oh yeah,
Terminator.
the guy not knowing that he was a machine. Yeah, no, that kind of took me out of the film too. What really took me out of that film was that he got stabbed in the heart, and they did a robot heart transplant with John Connor out in the field, out in the dirty, radioactive field.
Yeah.
And everything was going to be okay with him. That just didn't sit right with me.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot like Indiana Jones in the fridge in the third Indiana Jones film.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, check out Sarah Connor Chronicles. It's out on DVD, Blu-ray, or anything like that. I do recommend. I am a very strong advocate of physical media. There are
Yes.
too many
Yes.
companies that are taking these streaming services and changing the films, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's right. I thought it was kind of cool when George Lucas went back and did it with the Star Wars films because we didn't have anything else back at that time. And we thought, well, hey, this is going to be really neat.
Except for the unnecessary changes that he made, which, but the ones that he made because of the fact that when he filmed it, the technology just hadn't caught up with the ideas that he had yet.
Yeah.
Those were good changes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been supportive of it at all if I'd known that he was going to destroy the original film.
Yeah, that was a bad move.
Yeah.
But
the companies, I mean, you can't even buy 2 different DVDs, Star Wars nowadays, and get the same film because they've made so much changes to it.
Yeah.
So if you buy one that came out in like 2015 and one that came out in 2023, they've got very different scenes in them.
Yeah. Well, the best part is what I think is funny about Star Wars is that the holiday special that was something that he actually does want to be buried. This keeps coming back every year on YouTube.
Yeah,
you see multiple re-uploads of of that, which is completely awful. But
I mean, you can be a Star Wars fan and realize there's some crap Star Wars out there.
Definitely.
So anyhow, back to the Terminator. I got some notes here. We did a rewatch on it, and I wanted to be able to get a good feel so I can give you guys a little bit more insight on the film. If you hadn't figured, I'm more of a film buff than Chris is, because
Well, no, I mean, we kind of have different
taste.
Yeah.
Different taste.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I've watched that you probably haven't watched or have been very much into.
Yeah, you do watch a lot of weird stuff.
A lot of more of the sci-fi, more of the.
Well, you were the one that got me into Evil Dead.
Yeah. I watch a lot more dystopian type of things.
Yeah.
Like Clockwork Orange and things like that.
Yeah, I'd seen Clockwork Orange before you. I didn't get the nuances of it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not one of your favorite films, and it is mine. So,
but out of the two of us, I do have a DVD Blu-ray collection, over 850 physical copies of films.
Mhm.
It's actually more than that because for some reason, if you want to get one individual film that's really old, you have to buy it with the film that you already own.
Yeah.
Just so you can complete your set. So I've got a lot of doubles and stuff, but. I made an effort last year. This is probably one of the reasons why I was interested in getting on a podcast. I made an effort to watch every single one of the DVDs that I had at that time last year. And I drastically, when I realized that some of them were diminished, I drastically started buying other films to complete my collection, make it a little bit more complete, especially with them changing stuff. So I wanted more of a physical thing. But back to the Terminator. I wrote down some notes here. So it starts off with the preamble, which you read at the beginning. Well, we both read. You read more awesome than me.
It's kind of
leaned in the movie voice. So what I noticed, the first thing I put on my notes here is the time bubble lightning effect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the special effects that held up on the film.
I think so.
Lightning in general, because you get that. It was that way with the Highlander too, and Return of the Jedi.
Highlander is the lightning was excellent, as I remember.
It doesn't look that good nowadays. It looks
it
looks lazy.
Everyone is relying way too much on CGI and other things like that. And most people will agree that the CGI, especially with the Marvel films, has gotten really awful. You look at stuff from decades before, and even the CGI from decades before was a lot better than what's being pumped out now.
Well, I mean, the first Jurassic Park, it was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those dinosaurs looked absolutely real.
Yeah, but, I mean, you had the earliest CGI, and I think one of the better films from the 80s was The Last Starfighter.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that film was like one of the first ones to rely heavily on CGI. So that one was kind of a difficult to make on that one. And it's if you get a chance, go out and watch that. We may do a podcast on that one later on, especially since I can't remember who his mentor was, and the guy that came to get him. I can't remember what his name was, but they got there, and it was the same guy that did the Music Man movie.
Matthew Broderick, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to brush up on that one. We should do a future episode on that.
if you guys are curious, here's the episode list that I've got worked up. We may mix it up a little bit, but we've got Maltese Falcon, Tombstone, The Shining,
Yes.
Kubrick film, The African Queen. I got an interesting story about the African Queen. I've been saving. I wanted to get that one out a little bit sooner, but there's a lot on that one. And then Spider-Man from 2002 from Sam Raimi.
Yes.
So
One of my favorites. One of my favorite superhero, definitely. So.
well, I'm a very big fan of The Flash and the Green Lantern, and I have not been lucky with getting a superhero film that's decent for those guys.
Oh yeah, unfortunately.
But back to the Terminator. I say it again.
One more time.
All right, back to the Terminator. All right, so on my notes here, I was watching it, and the bar that she goes to get to a public place to get away from it, which is a very smart thing to do, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
If you do feel like you're unsafe, always go to a place where there are more people. That way you have more help.
Yes.
But I do remember a story about that. They had a problem when they were doing the filming. People thought it was a real club, and they kept on having to turn people away while making the film. But on the last night of filming, when they wrapped and everything like that, they did take a cover and make some money back for the film.
That's great.
All right, so that was something that came up on there. But the first killings in the film was Bill Paxton and Brian Thompson. Bill Paxton is one of the few actors who has been killed by a Terminator, an Alien, and a Predator. The guy's got rage. And then Brian Thompson, I love character actors. Brian Thompson, I do believe, was a character actor from back in the day. He was one of the first, and he was kind of scrawny in this film, which is surprising. If you watch any of his other films that he's in after this, he is a hulking guy. I mean, he's almost along the size of Schwarzenegger in some of those films.
Well, he didn't want to be victim to another massive Terminator again.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah. Probably figured it out working out. Here's something you don't see in films anymore, and there's a reason for it. The newspaper litter in the film.
Yeah.
And you get that popped up in Highlander and stuff too, where they're doing the effect and everything like that. And there's newspapers all over the place.
Everywhere.
And that's, as I remember, back in the day, that was a problem.
Now you just see a bunch of face masks and stuff everywhere. So,
not so much in the last couple of years,
ago,
but yeah, it was a problem there for a while. All right. And another thing that I saw, there was a meme that's been coming around. Hobo pants.
The hobo pants.
Do you know the hobo pants meme?
I know a little bit about it, but yeah, I think you probably explain it better. Yeah.
All right, so there's a meme, and I thought it was funny. All right, so Sarah Connor, in a very stressful situation, hooks up with a guy wearing stolen hobo pants.
Yeah, which means that he had to have had what they call I don't know, it might be an outdated term now, Riz, or we would call it game, or
yeah,
charm.
Yeah. Well,
he must have had some real charisma to be able to pull that with some stolen.
Yeah.
Hobo.
I think it helped that she was ovulating, and for those of y'all may think, how do you know she was ovulating? She literally got pregnant from the one encounter that they had. So
the one encounter.
Yeah. So it was date night. So
yeah, that's true.
So,
she was supposed to go be on another date.
Oh man, yeah, we were watching that, and she had that scene where she picked up the phone, and it was her best friend's lover, and he was talking dirty in the phone because he thought it was her.
And she just totally listens.
Oh God, she's got so much joy in her face in that one scene, and it's kind of heartbreaking to realize that's the same girl that's in Terminator 2, where she is so dead inside.
Well,
So she's broken. She's broken in the
she's,
film.
She's just I guess you could probably argue that she was overcorrected, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of trauma there.
But at the same time,
I mean,
when you know exactly what the future that she's looking ahead to, could you really blame her for being that overprotective of her son and things like that?
Yeah, it made total sense if you go back and watch the second film. If you watch the first one, you understand why she was like that.
Yeah.
But the hobo pants, the meme going around with her doing the O face from the film. It's like, how can Kyle pull this with hobo pants? I thought it was funny. I'll probably get some negative comments down in the chat down below. But I don't know.
Who knows?
Why are the cops chasing Reese?
Yeah, why did they initially? I mean, after the club incident, it's a little, that made more sense.
Yeah, but when he first shows up, he's buck naked. And the cops don't see him. All they do is see him pulling his pants up.
Yeah.
And they're all like, we got to shoot that guy because their guns drawn.
I don't know. Maybe they have a lot of problems with the bombs relieving themselves in the island. Maybe they thought that's what he was doing. Oh.
I don't know. I think that's a massive plot hole. Why were they chasing him? Because you figure there was like, oh, it's a hobo urinating thing. Hey, stop! Oh, he's running. No, let's go get some donuts.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they full on chased him just for,
Oh no, they chased him with all their heart.
Yeah.
They were like invested, like he was a murderer.
Yeah. That kind of doesn't really make sense.
We touched on this one a little bit earlier. She's going. She goes to work. Sarah. She's having a bad day at work. Which is also kind of heartbreaking because she has a really bad day at work. She finds out that she's dying.
She's a waitress.
Yeah.
So, pretty stressful job, I would say.
Yeah.
I
mean, she's getting orders wrong. People are yelling at her. A kid puts ice cream in her pocket. And in the background, if you listen real close, some guy says, hey, kid, I ought to give you a tip. Which was totally unnecessary. And that's stuff like that you don't really get in films nowadays.
The funny thing that nowadays you hear that more from if you're gonna actually watch the movie in the theater, you would hear that from another audience member that rather than on the film itself.
True. True. So from there on, we move into the gun store scene. And behind the counter is legendary character actor Dick Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I really like character actors. I think they're salt of the earth. I think I like seeing them. I like seeing the character actors. Ernest Borgnine is my favorite character actor.
Oh yeah.
Although,
excellent.
He can play a lead as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The guy had range.
Mm-hmm.
But Dick Powell, I mean, he was in Gremlins. He played the crazy neighbor who was talking about Gremlins being put in everything back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the war. It was in Gremlins 2 where he got his revenge. Of course, he was also in the original Little Shop of Horrors, which had a very young Jack Nicholson as the dentist, you said, right?
The dentist.
You were telling me that earlier.
Yeah. Which is, that was the non-musical, non-Broadway version of the movie.
I do have that one, actually.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So
it's an interesting film, but of the two, I think that the musical one actually is a little bit better.
By far superior.
Yeah.
By far. I think the dentist in that one was
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. Yeah.
Pretty young Steve Martin as well.
All right. So another plot hole I noticed in there. When she's watching the news report on the first Sarah Connor that gets killed, they made mention that she was dead and she was survived by her husband and 2 kids. Why didn't the Terminator kill the kids?
Hmm. Okay, the husband was probably at work, right?
So you think they were just at school and the
So-
Terminator didn't know that?
Maybe the kids were probably at school then, because it was the middle of the day.
Well, you figure, just killing her back in the day. Oh, I guess they had an estimate on how old he was.
Maybe, but obviously he was just going back and killing every Sarah Connor because they didn't know exactly which one it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does make sense that if there were any children there, he might have been, oh, this could be.
This could be John. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So when Reese comes back in time, you see him. You see he falls on the ground. He's got a scar on his back. It's really big.
Mhm.
And then later on in the film, he steals the car and passes out at a construction site. Now they did a lot of symbolism in this film.
Yeah.
The modern construction tools, the modern equipment. It starts off with a garbage truck, and then it goes into the machines and stuff that we use. But he falls asleep right next to a construction site and has a flash forward, how you want to call it, where he goes back and he winds up getting into a fight, and then runs off in a car, gets flipped over, and he gets burned. So I thought that was a neat thing to add in. If you notice the burn on it, they show you later on actually how he got it. I think the last plot hole I noticed was that she had to use a quarter to call 911. Yeah, she puts a quarter in the phone and dial 911. As I remember when we were growing up, you just picked up the phone and dialed 911.
She used the quarter to call her apartment.
That was later. No, she called 911 first. If you look, she puts the quarter in, she picks up the handle, and she dials 911.
Okay, I don't know if that was the case back in the early '80s because obviously we weren't using payphones at that time, but by the time we got to we would be using payphones. It was calling 911 was free.
Yeah.
Or well, I mean. You could call 911 from a payphone or wherever, and you wouldn't have to put your quarter or whatever in to do it.
It's an odd thing to add into the podcast, but if you look back on the way things are now versus the way things are back then, there aren't any payphones around anywhere.
Yeah.
Which, if you watch any kind of old TV show like The Rockford Files, was always pretty good because he gets there and then he's got to make a phone call and he pulls over that Camaro and gets out and finds a phone booth and puts a quarter in and make a phone call.
Yeah.
Whereas now we just pick up a cell phone and call somebody.
Mm. And I think you can call 911 from any phone, even if it doesn't have service.
Yeah.
Attached to it. So
yeah, absolutely.
So that's good. As long as it has a charge on it.
Yes. If you are in mortal danger, please call 911. And hopefully the cops will be able to help. Well, one last thing. He mentions that the Cyberdyne Systems 101 is the unit that was after her, but it's always referred to as the T-800. And you were saying...
the 800 came up they came up with that later on, and I think it was retconned as he was part of the 800 series, but he was a 101 like a subset of that. Like the 800 was the model, but he was the 101 of the.
So we had the chassis, but we had option package.
Sort of like they say like 1.2, 1. That. So 101 was kind of like the subset of that series.
That's another thing I like to watch about these old films. You get there and you watch them, and if you remember, well, maybe just me, I don't recognize a time difference between the 80s and now, because overall, fashion seems to be about the same.
No,
I mean,
it depends.
In the film, it's very stylized, especially in the where they're going out to the bars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where they're just traveling around. But jeans and a t-shirt has been kind of the standard.
Yeah. Jeans and t-shirts is timeless.
I mean, things were kind of grungy in the 70s.
Mm.
But they kind of tightened everything up with the style. At least I think, because you can't go out nowadays and find somebody without wearing jeans and a t-shirt. You'll find at least, half a dozen people
But
out
you
there.
also did see a lot of in the '80s. There was the shoulder pad thing and the really bright, it's like loud colors,
Yeah.
things like that. Like
But that fell off in the 90s.
yeah,
Really when we were coming of age.
yeah. Like by the mid '90s, I was already kind of gone. The early '90s, you still saw some of the kind of neon bright colors, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, the early 90s were just 80s
yeah,
adjacent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Every decade is like that. The first couple of years is still kind of the leftover of the previous decade.
Yeah.
So,
But jeans and t-shirt. But no, what I like about it, what really sets the film apart is going back and looking at the cars.
oh yeah, cars are always going to be the thing that you can look back on and you see the difference in um, the cars that are on the road.
Yeah.
In even in movies, which
Well, if they're doing a period piece, you'll see that they'll have like the same 5 cars in the film because those are the only ones that survived.
that still exist. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, I like looking at the old cars. The police cars on that one, I think they were using Dodge Cornettes.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Somebody will correct me down in
Yeah.
the comments if there's anybody listening.
Maybe. I mean, but those were, yeah, uh, pretty iconic looking police cars. Uh, Definitely different from what we see out on the road today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there you have it. We've got the Terminator, 1984. The beautiful Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton, and Kyle Reese, played by uh, Michael Biehn.
Mhm.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the villain.
Yeah. Yeah, you get into a more of a rundown of the actual film, like, what is it? Harvard Police Station, where I'll be back.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of the start of the iconic one-liners.
Yeah.
You had a lot of that in the James Bond films. He would throw out a one-liner every now and then, but they really played it. Schwarzenegger grabbed onto that.
His entire career is made up of one-liners throughout pretty much all.
Especially this one, because he'll throw this one in everything.
Yeah.
And they kind of poke fun of that in Last Action Hero.
Yes. Yeah. And you've probably seen it. A lot of people have done YouTube videos on it and everything like that. But supposedly there was an argument between James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger, that the line was supposed to be "I will be back," because 2 reasons. Um, a, a machine probably wouldn't use a contraction like "I'll," instead of it would say "I will," and not only that, but it was Arnold's accent made the wording, it made it sound a little weird, but Arnold stuck to it and really wanted to do the line "I'll be back" rather than "I will be back," and turns out that he was right.
Well, yeah. Yeah, when it comes to film, Schwarzenegger is usually right. I mean, he may have other questionable choices in his life, but I mean, it's a hard life.
Well,
None of us get out of it alive. We all make mistakes. But when it comes to film, Schwarzenegger, I think he's one of the better ones. You got the icons. You got like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You got John Wayne. You got Clint Eastwood.
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester. Well, I mean, he's all. You know what gets me about Sylvester Stallone? You're going to get me on a rant here. He did Rocky, and as I understand, he wrote Rocky,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So that is a beautiful film.
Mhm.
And it's amazing.
Yes.
I don't see that from him later on in life. I don't see that depth, but I got a theory on it.
Yeah.
And you see that with musicians a lot. It's the hardship that makes them be able to be that creative.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then when they find success, they can't find the same spark that they had.
Yeah. That's what I tell people a lot, is that poverty breeds creativity, that and boredom. So when you're broke and you're bored and you got nothing to do, you got nowhere to go but up, really. And it sparks your creativity because you're just you've got so much time to think and to process and come up with ideas. But as you get more, uh, as people become more successful in the, um, especially in the music world, they kind of forget, what it was like to be broke.
Down and out,
Yeah.
as it used to be called. Yeah.
Yeah. So there, no one's gonna want to listen to, some rich person talk about, rich person things. Yeah,
The problems of life.
and yeah, and then no one really wants to hear, a lot of their first world problems about, the struggle is more interesting.
Yeah. Jim Carrey had a joke about that he did on, I think, Conan O'Brien or David Letterman, or maybe even Jay Leno. I don't know. But he told a joke, and it's, now that I think about it, a little bit too racy for this podcast.
Oh, well, what is it? We can cut it out. Yeah, we had to cut that out.
Yeah, it was a little bit too much.
If just look it up yourself if you feel so inclined. You really want to know what the joke was.
So, what you have anything else to add on your list over there of takes on the Terminator?
I don't know what else you want to get into. The special effects, like the
Oh,
yeah.
I had a take on that, but what's your take on it?
I thought they were really good. I thought that the whole thing where he's operating on his own eye and stuff like that, where
Yeah, the
I think
practicals on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. They came up with a pretty good likeness of Arnold's face, and to put on like a robot head. So I thought it was really good. I think it holds up these days. I would most certainly be done with CGI. I don't think it would look as good.
Well, I mean, when they came up to Terminator 2, they were doing a ton of CGI in that,
Mm.
but still, when they did the deal where they cut open his head, they used a mannequin on that as well,
Yeah,
a remake.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think that
I
that
think
makes
CGI
sense.
has a place. I don't think it needs to overlap
It shouldn't
everything.
overshadow it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the only thing. I think that there's still a need for practical effects, and practical effects, in my opinion, for the most part, will always be superior. Yes, of course, there are some things that CGI, can do that practical effects can't do, but for the most part, I think even if it looks bad, I'd rather see a guy in a rubber suit than drawn in character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a
If,
story.
if I want to see a drawn in character, I'm just going to watch an animated film or an animated show.
I got a story about a guy in a rubber suit, but I don't know if I should save that for the Masters of the Universe.
You talking about like Naked Gun,
No,
rubber suit? No,
no. All right, so no, I'll save it for later. We'll come back to it when we watch Masters of the Universe if we get around to that one, and we may have to bring my brother in on that because he was part of that story as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was pretty funny, and it did involve a couple guys in big rubber suits. Yeah, it was a thing. It was totally an '80s thing that you had to have been there to understand what we were coming across. But as for the Terminator, I loved the film. I thought it was great with the special effects all the way up to just after a truck explosion at the end.
Okay.
And then they do
That's when they do the stop motion.
the stop motion. Don't get me wrong. It was good for the time period. I don't think that part held up.
I don't know. I still like stop motion.
I
mean,
it took
even the jerky movements and all that other stuff. When you really break it down, stop motion versus animation. I guess animation probably does look better at that point.
yeah,
But
it took me out of the film. You know what it reminded me of?
yeah, I could see that.
It reminded me of the old Sinbad films
Yes.
that you used to get on cable
Yeah.
TV all the time. And you got the claymation
Yeah.
monsters or cyclopses and stuff like that. They wound up fighting on them.
Mhm.
And I can't even remember what those films were, who started them. All I remember is the clunky.
Yeah. Well,
It was Sinbad,
yeah.
and they had clunky stop motion in it. Although I'll totally sit down and watch a Wallace and Gromit.
Oh yeah. I know. I enjoy stop motion. So,
Yeah.
And actually I think that the stop motion for the Ed 209 and the RoboCop, another film that we're gonna have to get into at some point. But
I think
Ed
for
209, I think it worked for the for that character.
Yeah, for RoboCop, if we do get into that one, I don't know how soon we can get into it, but for RoboCop, I think we need to take that one and contrast it to the who is it, Joel Olsen, RoboCop from the late
Oh,
2010s.
yeah.
I think it was like 2014 or something like that. It came out. It was a remake of RoboCop, and it didn't do very well in the box office.
Yeah, it didn't do well as a remake.
I didn't like it when I watched it. However, I watched it like 5 or 6 years later, separated, just in the middle of the night by myself. I saw it on TV. I'll sit down and watch it. And if it was a standalone film, it would have been good on its own.
Yeah,
But the fact that it
but-
had to come after
but the
such an
problem
iconic.
is, when you compare it to the original RoboCop, it just doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold a candle to it. It doesn't, you've got the Detroit Police Department, and it's high crime and all that other stuff, and then you just the new film doesn't really catch that. Doesn't capture that as well. I don't think. And then of course you got the toxic waste.
Well, there's
stuff.
a whole political element to that film, and
Yeah.
you get that a lot with the '80s films.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see that actually come true
Mhm.
in our adult lives, because it was largely spoofed and it was overdone back in the day. You didn't get that with the Terminator film. It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
They didn't heavy-handed hit you with the stuff, but you go.
Well, that was one of the things I really enjoyed about '80s and '90s films, is that most of them didn't get overtly political. It was, if they were talking about dystopian, it was just dystopian. It wasn't dystopian because of someone, or because of, some activist talking point.
Yeah, like my worst, my absolute hate film of all time, Highlander 2. Now, I'm a fan of the first Highlander film. I got a whole take on that if we do that for the podcast. But Highlander 2 is the worst film ever made. They totally ruined the plot of the first film. It was heavy-handed with the depletion of the ozone layer. And that was the main premise of the film, which really didn't set well with the original storyline of the Highlander setup. So, not only that, we fixed the ozone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it's doesn't really hold up, and that's something else we could probably get into. Is there are there movies where the sequel is so bad that it even taints the original movie?
It's like Superman 4, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Superman, it's like 4, I don't know. It's not the one with Richard Pryor. I actually liked that one.
Was it 4 or 5 then?
It had been 5
the first 3, everyone regards as some of the best movies.
Yeah. But no, you got
it was like that Nuclear Man, right?
Yeah, the Nuclear Man one. That one was terrible. That's the one where he had to repair the Great Wall of China with his vision for some reason. It was a power that you just didn't see in the comics, I don't think.
Yeah.
But
well, that was one of the problems that I had always had with the Superman characters. It was back in the day they would come up with comic specific powers for him.
Oh yeah.
To deal with that exact problem, which I think was kind of detrimental to the character, because
he was
a few reasons. First off, it makes him overpowered, and it gives him like these just unlimited abilities, but it also takes away from the resilience and of the character to be able to come up with ways to defeat a new enemy without having some specific power that counteracts them.
You know the power where he kissed Lois Lane and erased her memory. That's a comic book accurate.
Yeah. No, I know that.
I didn't know that until I was a full-grown adult.
Or the ones where you can shoot many versions of himself out of his fist or something.
I never saw that in the movies, but I do remember somebody talking about that online. But we're looking at Terminator here. As far as future predictions go. We're still very close to this.
Definitely.
With AI coming in. And I think AI has its place. I don't think it needs to go as far as they want to take it.
It shouldn't. That's one of the problems with everything every technological advancement that we have is uh, there's always the things that it's supposed to help people and um, enhance their life and everything like that. But then people end up getting lazy with it and start using it for things that it was never really meant for, and um, that's when we start to see problems.
Yeah.
People become too dependent on those on technology that's supposed to supplement your life and not take the place of certain things, like GPS. Um, learn your way around. Don't rely too heavily on GPS.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we grew up when we, had to look at maps and stuff like
Yeah,
that. We're
sure.
we're in the crotchety old man territory now.
Yeah, I understand that. Yes, of course, but at the same time, come on, uh, you shouldn't be too reliant on technology because technology can fail, and when technology fails, you should have your own set of skills and knowledge to be able to fall back on.
Yeah. Well, on the last note, I want to add one last thing about Terminator before we let everybody go. I was watching it today, and I noticed Kyle Reese
Mhm.
was telling him that his unit that he was in was from like 2021 to 2027. So 2027 is when he left the future,
Yeah.
and that's next year. So we're right on top of that. But we're here at the end, and in the spirit of Gen X and being raised in the 80s and stuff like that, I want to leave with a public service announcement, I guess.
Well, the more you know, type of thing.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Knowing is half the battle, type of thing.
life is hard. We all know that. If you know anybody or if you yourself are having a rough time and you don't feel like you can continue on, you can contact people. The National Suicide Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. Or I do believe you can just dial 988 now.
Yeah.
That's 988, and there would be somebody on the line to help you out with that.
In the spirit of the podcast being, mostly cinema related, I would say, yeah, if you yourself feel that way, or you know someone that feels that way, show them the original film of It's a Wonderful Life. That really touches on the self-harm and the reasons why you shouldn't do it.
Oh yeah, just bad thoughts on how things can pile up on you,
Mhm.
and then you can just not see an outline. Anything you do though, don't talk to anybody in the Canadian side
Yeah.
because I think they will push you toward that. From what I heard, I think they had a
Yeah.
soldier that they caught
Yeah,
trying to put up for assisted suicide. Anyhow, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. But thank you very much for listening. I hope you had a good time. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and we'll try to answer any questions you have. Thank you very much, and have a great night.
Good night.